Tashtila to everyone, and welcome to the Tibetan Intermediate Conversation course. And today we're going to discuss, or we're going to continue discussing about the other particles. We've already been discussing this for the previous two lessons, and we already know why we call it the other particle. Because these are not the particles that are stated in the text of 30 or the gender signs. So these particles are not part of the grammatical text, the classical grammatical text. And moreover, most of these particles came to be along the development of the current Tibetan language. So therefore, these are called the other particles. So previously, we have discussed few interesting other particles. So today we're going to continue, and today we're going to have this. We're going to discuss the final set of other particles. So before we go to the lesson, let me begin with the aphorism today. So the aphorism is "Rang wo la ya gyu ba ma tong, xian wo la shi gyu ba tong." Let me repeat this. "Rang wo la ya gyu ba ma tong, xian wo la shi gyu ba tong." "Rang wo la ya gyu ba ma tong, xian wo la shi gyu ba tong." So pointing out that a tick was running on someone's face, not seeing that a yak was racing on one's face. So what does this mean? So the meaning of this aphorism is that most of the time people are very quick at pointing other people's mistake while they are doing something, but they forget the piles and piles of mistake that they have done. So it's more like saying that pointing out the slightest mistake that someone has done, while one have piles and piles, mountains and mountains of mistake that they have committed. And the example, so most of the aphorism, they're in the form of, as you know, they're in the form of verse. We call it sikje. So what does sikje means? It means that each of the line that is stated have the characteristic or nature that all the meaning is in that particular single line. So it doesn't go in continuation. So tsikje. And usually when it's written, we write it with a single line. So we end single line with this punctuation, which indicates the end of the statement. And most of these aphorisms or proverbs, as you see, what they do is that they tend to use a poetic tool that is in Tibetan, which is known as pe ke. It's called pe ke. So what pe ke means is, so let me write this for you. Take a new slide like this. Let's see if yes, it's already. So let me make it 70 so it's more visible. Okay, so pe ke. Let me change the font. So pe ke. Pe ke means to ornament, meaning to, in this case, it's more like to ornamental word, which means that it is used in terms of providing an additional information. So here what it does is that by using an example, for example, we have two types of ornamentation. One is this pege, one is called suge, suk. Okay. The difference being that in one of these ornament, one of these cases, we simply provide example for a certain statement. But in the second case, what happens is that we use a sort of it's more or less a sort of providing a providing an example, but not it's more like personification. So giving a certain type of humanly characteristic to something, or also in a way that it's not just taken as an example, but it is provided as the meaning. So here, most of the cases, some of you who have also joined me for the reading classes, we did the type of text. It was Psychopinditas text, in which most of the examples are given in terms of Bege. And there are many texts, as you will find, that follows the same kind of method of providing examples. So here also, the examples are provided. Yak here, which is a very big animal. Shik, which means a tick, very small animal. So these two, what we have done is that we have taken the characteristic of their physical structure, meaning that one is very small, the other is very big. And then given that particular characteristic to mistakes. And the face is more or less a representation of one's merits and demerits. So not seeing that a yak was racing on one's face means that one does not see how big of a mistake that they have, or how much of a mistake that they have already committed. And pointing out a tick running on someone's face, meaning that pointing out someone's smallest, tiniest mistakes. So this proverb or aphorism means that it means that not knowing that one has a pile and pile of mistake, pointing out someone for making the smallest, the slightest, the tiniest of mistake. So this is the meaning of this aphorism. Okay, so with this, let us begin today's lesson. Today we're going to discuss 4 sets of other particles. So let me read them first. The first one, nyamne tumpete. Nyamne tumpete. Nyamne tumpete. Second one, tu che tungu tumpete. Tu che tungu tumpete. Tu che tungu tumpete. Third one, do ne chua tumpete. Do ne chua tumpete. Do ne chua tumpete. And final one is, the fourth one is, cheba cheba tumpete. Cheba cheba tumpete. Cheba cheba tumpete. So what does this mean? The first one, nyamne tumpete, means particles as conjunction to show with or together with. Second one, which is tu che tongo tumpete, particles showing a very short duration of time. Third one, do ne chua tumpete, particle used as a counter question, meaning a doubt that arises from something. And then final one, cheba cheba tumpete, particles showing the making of an estimation. So a sort of a particle which functions to show that someone is making an estimation. Okay, so the first one, particles as the conjunction with and together with. Nyamne tumpete. So there are 2 particles which can be understood as the particles as conjunction with and together with, chapchi and henchi. Chapchi and henchi. Okay, so the first example, tropo keja namtan henchi to zom tupar trona seme chung. Let me repeat this. Tropo keja namtan 텐치도 좀 토벌 트로나 세메총 초보 캐남당 텐치도 좀 토벌 트로나 세메총. So this is the example of usage of tenchi. Tenchi means together with people, together with the crowd. So the usage of the particle tenchi should be understood as together with. So trobo keja namda. Keja is a pronoun that means you as in plural. Trobo keja namda tenchi tu zom tupar trona tseme. Trobo, which means friend. Kejanam, which means you, as in plural. Tang tenchi means together with. Zom tup. Trona means joy or happiness. Tseme means immeasurable. And chung means to arise. Past tense of arise. So it means, so this particular sentence, it means that I, for example, I had an immeasurable joy or happiness for having able to gather with all of you friends. Now, the second example. Nga tso tsangma tang chepji dikar ne jel lepo chesin. Nga tso tsangma tang chepji dikar ne jel lepo chesin. Okay, chepji means with. Nga tso tsangma means us all. Dikar means here. Nejil means pilgrimage. Lepo means successful and good. Chesin means already done. So chapchi is usually used as with. So these two particles, the first one, which is I feel great joy, or I feel immeasurable joy. You can say immeasurable. So this could be immeasurable. Let me change this to immeasurable joy for being able to gather here together with all of you friends. The second one, so here you see that together with is translated for tenchi. Then the second one, the pilgrimage with all of you, with all of us, has been successful. So the pilgrimage with all of us has been successful. So chapchi is translated as with and understood as with. So we see that in terms of particles, chapchi and tenchi, chapchi is used as the particle with, the conjunction with, and tenchi is used as the conjunction together with. Okay, so this is the first set of the particle. Now the second set of particles showing a very short duration of time. A particle that shows it indicates that either a very short duration of time has passed or something has occurred in continuation to something with a very short duration of time in between. So the first one is gejik. The second one is temata. Geji, temata. Geji, temata. Okay, so the first example. Mita chu tamche ni geji rerir jigyur pe tela yiten chena rampongwe kyu chesho re. Let me repeat this. Mita chu tamche ni geji rerir jigyur pe tela yiten chena rampongwe kyu chesho re. Mita chu tamche ni geji rerir jigyur pe tela yiten chena rampongwe kyu chesho re. This is an example. One might this is an example to tell you that in Tibetan language, sometimes we have variation of spellings. So yakiwi is a variation of spelling for the word yakiwi. And some of you may know what it means. So yakiwi, let me see. Yakuguyi is a variation of Yakuguyitayi, which is also similar as starting with Masa Sim, which means the mind. So Yite means to have, to depend on something, to believe in something, to have faith on something, to take solace in something. It's called Yite. So, meta chue thamje ni keji rerer jig gurpe. So here, the reason why I have, instead of reading as jigurpe, I have read it as jigurpe. And the reason is that we have the particle here. And particle is, those particles that we learn are also very useful to teach us how to read, because particles also indicate break between the syllable. So when you read, if you have a particle, you should break it into a individual syllable or individual portion. So jik gyurpe tela yiten chena rampungwe gyucheshure. Mita means impermanent phenomena. Mita chue means impermanent phenomena. Tamje means all. Keji means momentarily, or instantaneously, or momentarily. Rerer means each moment or each instant. Chikur means something that perishes. Pe is giving the reason, it's providing reason. Te, which is a pronoun which refers to the impermanent phenomena. So it states, since all the impermanent phenomena perish momentarily, in each moment, tela yite chena, meaning yite means to put faith, to take solace into. Rang means self. Pung means to ruin someone, to cause someone's downfall. Gyu means cause. Cheshu means biggest. It states that as it is a reasoning. It states because all impermanent phenomena perishes momentarily or at each moment, to take solace in those is the biggest cause of causing one's own downfall. Okay, so second example. Yurin song jie lame song tebe tema tatu mila chima kor. Yurin song jie lame song tebe tema tatu mila chima kor. Yurin song jie lame song tebe tema tatu. Or if I exaggerate the syllable reading, then I will read it as Yurin song jie lame song tebe. As you can see, I'm stretching the sound because of this particle. I'm cutting the sound because of this particle and this sound. Yurin song jie lame song tebe tema tatu mila chima kor. Yurin means for a long duration of time. Yurin song jie means after a long period, after a long time. Lame means Lama means guru. Lame means the guru is doing something. Lame sung means when guru is giving teaching, hearing when guru is giving teaching. Temata means immediately. Mi means eyes. Chima means tears. Kor means to emerge. So it means, so roughly it means that after a long hearing the Guru giving teaching after a long time, immediately tears came to my ears, to my eyes, sorry. Tears came to my eyes. So the word temata means immediately. Kechik means momentary. Okay, so the first sentence is, all phenomena are momentarily changing and perishing. To take solace in these is the biggest cost of one's downfall. Second one, upon hearing the voice, upon hearing the voice or upon hearing the teaching given by my Guru after a long time, immediately tears formed in my eyes. So the word temata should be understood as immediately. The word kechik should be understood as momentarily or momentary. So something that that happens only in a very in a certain moment. So in a very instantaneous or in a very moment. So momentary, changing and perishing. Okay. Now the third set of particles that we are discussing today is called particle used as a counter question. So it's a particle that is used as a question when a doubt arises. So the first one is chang, the other one is kala. Chang, chang, kala, kala. Chang is an old Tibetan word, so it's an archaic Tibetan word. It was used in the old times, the olden times. It is a particle that tells us how is it possible, in a way, like how. So change this then. Okay, so Chang is an archaic Tibetan word which means how. I wonder how is it going to work, or I wonder how it is possible. So it's more like I wonder how. And then the second, kala, means how is it possible, or how is it this way. Both of these are quite similar. One is not used these days. You may encounter these in the translation of the sutra, because in the translation of sutra, we see that there are many old archaic Tibetan words used, especially used there. It's more of a standardized translation of the particular usage of archaic Tibetan. And so therefore, you'll encounter this mostly in the translation of sutras, but you will it's almost very rare to hear someone speaking it though. But since it's a particle which you can use in writing, I have introduced it. So, chang, kala. Le ngenpa chena zhibu sangpo kangzha yong chang nyam. Le ngenpa chena zhibu sangpo kangzha yong chang nyam. Le ngenpa chena zhibu sangpo kangzha yong chang nyam. Le ngenpa means non-virtuous deed or action. And chena means if done. Debu means result. Sangpo means good. Kangzha yong changnyam means I wonder how it will come to be, or how it is possible, or how it will become. Titsi, question word, or titsi, as you see, are also if it's as you say, you said question words, right? So it means titsi. Titsi is also a part of particles, so it is also particles. Titsi is also part of particles. These are specific of titi, which means interrogative or question words. These are counter questions, or rather more like stating something and then afterwards arising doubt, rather than directly stating a question. For example, 강 is used for question. 걔랑 강도 조규인스. So these are interrogative questions. 걔랑 민라 강아레스. 가츠, 가와. These are interrogative questions as direct questions. But this particular, it is also interrogative questions. This is also interrogative questions, but more. So understand that every interrogative question is a particle. Lasso. Okay, so 랭엔 바체나 제부 상보 강자 용 장냠. Okay, so it means if one does a non-virtuous deed, I wonder how they will get a good outcome. So roughly, translating it. So the second one, 确nam人心给东巴那电解马的从我卡拉西。确nam人心给东巴那电解马的从我卡拉西。确nam人心给东巴那电解马的从我卡拉西。So this is something I have stated as an example because let me tell you how important the particles are. I'm very sorry I'm going towards the grammar, but it is something that I was thinking while writing this. So if we have 人心东吧 or 人心东吧 one might think that there's only one additional particle, so it might not make a lot of difference, but it does. The first one says that the 人心东吧, it means empty nature. So empty nature. The second one says empty of intrinsic nature. So as you can see that these two, even though they may seem very similar, so this is why I have been telling every one of you that particles are very important because they tend to change the meaning in a very drastic manner. The first one says empty nature. The second one says empty of intrinsic nature. So these two are different things, as you can see. So therefore, as you can see that I have used the example, let's see here, 人性可以动吧, which means empty of nature. So intrinsic nature, that is innate nature, intrinsic nature. Okay, 确nam人性可以动吧, na电解马质从我卡拉西. So roughly translating, it means since all phenomena are empty of intrinsic nature, for these phenomena to arise non-dependently or independently, how is it possible? So let us go here, tongue and kala. First one, I wonder, however, will one receive a good outcome when one has committed a non-virtuous deed? So tongue should be understood as I wonder, however, or I wonder how. Sometimes it could be understood as I wonder how is it possible? And the wonder comes from nyam, the word nyam, which means to wonder. So it's more like however or how in this case. The second one, how is it possible for phenomena empty of intrinsic nature not to be dependently arising? So instead of saying independently arising, I have used the negation of dependently arising. So it's independently arising. So it states that how is it possible for a phenomena which is empty of intrinsic nature to not arise dependently? So kalasi. And you'll encounter this this particular particle you'll encounter a lot in many texts and treatises, and also in stories, and even in some of the poems. But usually it is not spoken that often. It is not used that often in conversation, but doesn't mean that it cannot be used in conversation. It is something that can be used in conversation, but it isn't being used in these days a lot. So it's something that was lost with time when different revisions came, when the very language changed because of the culture, the circumstances. So some of these particles were being used, but is no longer used that much. But it's not incorrect to use them. You can use them. But like I said, it will be something that will be very unique or rare when you use it. And you can use it in a more formal setting rather than casually speaking. Okay. Mm-hmm. Now, the final set of particles showing the making of an estimation. So it's more like estimating something. So knowing roughly about it. So pelcher. Some you also hear people pronouncing it as palcher. So pelcher. Halam. Yeme. I'm quite sure that most of you have heard this one and this one, but and also this one. So most of these are quite common in usage. So these are very common in usage. Thering leka pelcher saryukide. Thering leka pelcher saryukide. Thering leka pelcher saryukide. Thering means today. Leka means work or job or task. Pelcher means mostly or almost or most probably. Sar means complete, done, or finish. Saryukire means must have been done, must have been completed or done. So roughly translating, it is most probably today's work is completed. So yukire also brings an element of guessing rather than stating it as in a way that one is sure of it, more or less guessing. Second one, so pelcher is most probably or pulcher. So you can pronounce it in either way, pelcher or pulcher. Second one, dine ritei zemor par halam chuzu tru tosare. Dine ritei zemor par halam chuzu tru tosare. Di means here, ne means from here. Rithe means on the peak of that mountain. Par means to. From here to the peak of that mountain. Halam means around or about. Chütü, hours. Took 6. Toksade, will take. So it means that it will, so roughly translating, it means it will take about 6 hours to reach or to go from here to the peak of that mountain. Then the final example, talor konki tep kya yeme lasin. Talor konki tep kya yeme lasin. Talor konki tep kya yeme lasin. Talor means this year. Talor ra with ra. So let me write it here. So these are examples that I'm providing to repeat. So more like a broken record now, repeating that the particles are very important and they change the meaning drastically. To say, let me take this, talo and talor. So the difference between these two is talo is a noun that means this year with a determiner. So this year. Talor means in this year. So you see the in here, which is a preposition. So the addition of this particle adds a preposition here. So writing talo and talor is a very different word, a statement that is. Talor, in this year, kong, he or she, ki. So ki has to come with this. So ki tep kya yeme lasin. Tep means book, kya means 100, yeme means around or nearby or around. Lak, sin means have read, past form of read. So roughly translating, in this year, he or she has roughly or nearby or around has read around 100 books, or has roughly read around 100 books, or have read around 100 books. So you see the usage of the word yeme to be nearby or around, or sometimes also roughly. So final set of particles, which are particles showing the making of an estimation. Palcher, pelcher, halam, yeme. Pelcher, halam, yeme. Pelcher, halam, yeme. First one, he, she is most probably done with today's work. Sometimes the subject is implied rather than directly stated, so you can understand that it is indirectly stated, or it is implied from a statement that has been stated before this. Okay, so the second one, it will take us about 6 hours from here to the top of that mountain. This year, he, she read around 100 books. So we see pelcher as most probably, halam as about, yeme as around. Let me give you an example for these. Nge sambala talo pelcher charpa nyonso. Nge sambala talo o talor. Nge sambala talor pelcher chaba nyonso. So this is the particle here. So What does it mean? It means in my thinking or in my opinion, in this year, the rain was less, was most probably less. Pelcher chapanyuso. If you write it like nye sampala or nye sampar, you can either use nye sampar. This par, ra, and this la, both of these are particles, same particles. Nye sampar thalo pelcher charpa nyuso. So, nye sampala thalo pelche chaba nyuso. So, in my opinion, this year, most probably the rain was less. Pelcher. Thari he ki nyo ve pumpathe halam ngul che mangson. So, estimating, saying that thari ke ki nyo ve pumpathe halam ngul che mangson, which means, roughly translating, the vase that you bought today, I feel that you have paid a little extra or little more than it is worth. Halam. Hikyu te sarwa sarwar chütü sum yeme tosun. Okay, so this is the particle. So usually if I was writing it on a blackboard, what I'll do is that I will write a small moon-like shape under this, which indicates particle. But since we don't have it here, so I'm just highlighting it with color. Yigute sarwar chuzu sum yeme tosum, which means, roughly translating, it took me around 3 hours to finish that exam. So these are the usage of these particles, and you see these are particles that are very commonly used. So you'll encounter them a lot while speaking. Though these particles are more rarely used, but can be used. It's not that it's incorrect. It's just that with time it just became less of a practice. These are used quite frequently. Temata. Temata or kechik is used quite frequently as in the spoken language. So another word that you use is lamsa, which means quickly. The thing is that which is incorrect usage. You may hear people use this, and it is quite common use. People using nga lobtar songche na ne rogo zukbatang lamsa ame yosong. So if we say nga lobter song che na ne troko chu patang lamsa ame person. This is incorrect. In a way, if you want to say that immediately after heading out for school from home, mother called me. In this way, this is used incorrectly. So it should be used as temata. Temata to ame person, which means immediately. So therefore, it is more suitable to use the particle temata rather than lamsang. Lamsang is most like sooner or as soon as. So therefore, this is something that I have experienced while people using the word or the particle lamsang. Okay, so with this, we're done with the other particles. We started today's lesson. We started from the particles as the conjunction with and together with, then the particles showing a very short duration of time. For this, we discussed chapchik and hinchi. Chapchik understood as with, hinchi understood as together with. Then we discussed the particles showing a very short duration of time. Kechik, momentarily, temata, immediately. Then the particle used as a counter question, chang, which is an archaic Tibetan word, which means however or how is it possible, I wonder, something like this. And kala is how. Then we discuss particles showing the making of an estimation, pelcher, halam, yeme. Okay, so these are some particles that we have discussed for today, and then with this we are done with the sets of the other particles. Now the new words: chapchi with, tenchi together with, kechi momentarily, temata immediately, tongue. I wonder how it is, archaic usage. Kala, how is it possible? Pelcher, most probably. Halam, about. Yeme, around. Rangxinggetomba, empty of intrinsic nature. So these are the new words in the lesson today. So now let us go with the idioms. After that, if anyone has question, they can ask question. So the first idiom that we have is kola, meshor. Kola, meshor. Kola, meshor. Head on fire. This idiom means to be faced with a mishap that needs to be dealt with immediately. Something like an action taken without proper preparation and has backfired. Thus requires to be dealt with a great urgency. So it's something like facing a sort of backlash from something, meaning that something backfired because one has not prepared well enough for it. And since one has not prepared well enough for it, the consequences are quite undesiring. And so it also poses a great sort of threat, or it also poses a great danger, and so it should be dealt with immediately, something with a great urgency. So not only something has happened, but it has happened, and it has now made things in a way that something has to be dealt with a great urgency. Kongi tati yapo chebar. Kongi yapo tati. Kongi tati yapo ma chebar. So there's a negation here. Kongi tati yapo ma chebar. Lega te chetu. Lamlo michung se. Changme majue jundo che go. Majue jundo che. Gola me showare ser. Okay, so this is a long statement. Kongi tati yapo ma chebar. Lega te chetu. Lam long. This is lam long. lam long mi chung tse chang me ma jun jun do che go la me sho wa re ser. Okay, so what does this mean? This means when she failed to do the task while not preparing well. Others said that his or her head was on fire, pretending to be confident or competent. Majun Junto is a phrase that means someone who is pretending to know something but doesn't know it in reality. So that's Majun Junto. Majun Junto. Majun means to not be to be incompetent, meaning not being able, not knowing, or not knowing something. Junto means to pretend as if they are competent. So pretending to be competent. Majun Junto, Mai Yindo means Mai Yindo is a word that means hypocrisy. So Mai Yindo. Let me write this here. Mai Yindo. Or you can write it as we know that this is a variation of the spelling of the word color or appearance. So Mai Yindo means hypocrisy. It means hypocrisy. To be not to pretend to pretend to be something that one isn't. So hypocrisy, or to say something or to represent oneself in a way that one isn't. So it's hypocrisy. Okay, so the second idiom is nga cho gong zha. Nga cho gong zha. Nga cho gong zha. It means friends in the morning and enemies at night. This idiom refers to those people whose friendship lives for a very short period. For instance, two people who were friends a moment ago and after a short time becomes enemy. A very fragile friendship. Someone having a very fragile friendship, meaning that their friendship is not strong. Okay, so Konyi chamtu chebar kare taya yure. Konyi nga cho gongzha re. Konyi chamtu chebar kare taya yure. Konyi nga cho gongzha re. Konyi chamtu chebar kare taya yure. Konyi nga cho gongzha re. What is there to look at them being friendly with each other? They are friends in the morning and enemies at night, meaning that what is there to look at, meaning that one shouldn't have hope or shouldn't assume that those two will have a lasting friendship, because their friendship, both of their friendship is very fragile. In the past, they have been there were instances where they have been friends for short duration of time and then became enemy. So a very fragile friendship. Okay, so with this, we are done with today's lesson. So if anyone has question, please ask away. Kasa kala. Yes. No. This is not related. This kasa kala can be written as kangsa kangla. Kang is a particle that is more like it's a general particle which indicates a general place. So kangsa kangla means anywhere. So it's a place that could be anywhere. So kangsa kangla. So this is not it is not related to kala here. So kangsa kangla is a different particle. Lasso or kasa kala. It's the same. So do we have more questions? Any more questions?
Lagyan lang yung
Lasso.
The 옛매 당 예매 직발레베 야사예 마사메
예매 야사예
마사메
마사메 예매 지발 띵이 개밤메
카이스나 예연디 사자기 하데스노가 사자기 사찰라 페이지
샤데
체르가
제 마도 내가 저기 예윤 셰바디 야 표주 대예윤라 인사레 think of so yin in this case yin should be understood as either a little like when we say it's a little left to or it's a little right to. If we say, for example, if we're frying something which means it's a little left to 5,000 or right to 5,000, meaning that it's either a little less than 5,000 or a little more than 5,000. So this should be understood in this way.
제단 숨가 직발레베 게나가 디반니 아다도 디와지 디 마인 인도 당 인도 카보 티 베테 카카레 독소라 말레베
독초데
이나연 독디 이나지
직발레
직발레
네.
가르치니 부베시가 디 비케기 시가 백하고도 디 기야도기 된다 요르베
라오디 마인도 다 인도 카보 셰바데 저기 카가 가진르라나 because 마인 셰바데 negation 마인도 라나 two opposite words signi 도초라 마인 라나 to not be something 인도 라나 pretending to be something that one isn't. 제 아니 가서 인도 카보라나 가서기 suitable, something that's lovely, suitable. 된대지 가서기 인도 카보라로 저기 인사 데데스 된대다.
이나야 책신다 인도도 양 직파직게 말해베.
인도도라나 someone who is 인도도라나 someone who is being arrogant. Tiranga so Indo lana arrogant lagre, my Indo lana hypocrisy re, Indo kabo lana lovely lagore. See some to rete matanet. Lao things are
아이사 인도도 각장 민도 각장 맨날 디 가르치니 대장 인도 치코랑 디 네거티브 양나 포지티브
제 things are 저기 my Indo lana negative ra ngazo. 마도네 인도도 라나가 저기 코 negative 라가 저기 arrogance 라고라 means arrogance. 인도 카보 it's a positive word. It means lovely. So 디 치코랑아 저기 텐데라치 그샤로 아저 인사 라서
이체낭
라서 some of these particles seems to be adverbs. Adverb, interrogative verb, and particles. Yes, definitely. There is a clear distinction. Which word does it feel like adverb? Sometimes it could be adverbial conjunction, like thus that we have used is an adverbial conjunction. But immediately is an adverb. So yes, immediately. Temata, yes, it is adverb. Yes, it is adverb, but we just take it as a particle. In this case, we take it as a particle. But yes, it is also an adverb. But we see that normally in Tibetan, we have already studied this in previous classes, that adverbs tend to, which is still tends to be quite different than what we see here. It comes in. It either comes with the usage of the sixth grammatical case, or then we use the particle like shin. So therefore, it is an adverb, but here in English it is an adverb, but in Tibetan it's a particle. So that is how it is. This is sometimes also very confusing. So according to the rule, it may not be adverb, but more like a particle. And rest assured that the more we discuss these things about particles and other things, the more it will get clearer. Like I said, right now we're building up the foundation. So we'll discuss everything in more great detail as the classes continue after and after. But yeah, for now, it should be understood that though it may be translated as an adverb in English, in Tibetan, it's still a particle and not an adverb in that sense. But yes, it also functions in a way that it can be an adverb also. So a little more confusing here. Okay, so I think this is it for today. If you have questions, please post them on the group and I'll try to answer them as soon as possible. So this is it for today. And I hope that everyone benefited from this as much as I enjoyed teaching this today. And please revise and ask me questions if there are any. And if you see certain type of contradiction also, make sure that you post that question to me so that I can provide you with answers. So this is it for today. And I hope everyone benefited from this and I enjoyed teaching this. And I'll see every one of you for the next class. And yes, so I wish every one of you a good morning, good evening, a good afternoon, wherever you are. And I'll see you for the next class. Lasso.